Hi, and welcome to Transparent with Tina, a holistic approach for mental, physical, and spiritual well-being so you can become the best version of yourself. Welcome to Transparent with Tina. I am Tina Marx, your host. My guest today is the co-founder of Jagger Training, where she serves as a master coach and master trainer, specializing in Neural Linguistic Programming, also known as NLP, as well as related modalities like timeline therapy and hypnosis. Through NLP and her own determination, she rebuilt herself, not just surviving, but thriving. She turned her life around and now uses her experience to help others heal. Her husband is also co-founder of the Jagger Training, and their personal stories are amazing. And we're going to talk to them about what led them into this. Brandon has been in real estate for the past 17 years, but together you both are doing this now. Welcome, Deb and Brandon Jagger. So good to have you guys.
Thank you. Honored to be here.
Thank you, Tina.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. So last time it didn't work out, but you know what? The stars weren't aligned. So
That's how it works.
yeah. And so, we were trying to figure this out beforehand, who's going to take which questions. So whatever feels right to you, okay? So what originally led you into coaching and transformational work? Was there a pivotal moment? Deb, I know that I was going to read exactly your background, but I thought, you know what? Instead I thought I'm going to let you tell your story.
Oh, well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so mine starts with the dark night of the soul, if you will. I'm sure some of you maybe be listening to this right now or experiencing that. I know that I was, and mine happened in 2011. And some of you probably been lucky enough to experience rock bottom in one area of life. Mine was all areas of life. And if you are experiencing that right now, I want you to know that it may feel really shitty. And I also know that when you get through it, it's the best thing that can happen to you. So I was in a career that was completely wrong for me. And some of you may be feeling like this. You feel trapped, right? You feel like your soul is leaving your body and you don't know how you can do anything else. You have to put on a mask to survive. That was me. I also was using language, and what we do is neural linguistic programming, and it's all about the science of language and how it creates your reality. And so for me personally, I had an identity, an I am statement that I would say that I was a loser magnet. And I didn't understand why. I would attract the same bum over and over again. And I would move from town to town, to state. And I kept attracting the same abusive pattern. And I would say to my friends, I am never going to do this again. And then it would show up yet again. And little did I know that I was only attracting what I believed I was worth. I was attracting people to treat me what I believed I was worth being treated. And then I also had a belief system where I was a drug addict and I played the role, whether it be food, drugs, sex, alcohol, attention in all the wrong places. It seems like I could never fill that brokenness, that void that was inside. It was never enough. And the career that I was telling you about, I was a stripper and I was a sex worker. And I originally got into that because I thought it was like empowering stuff, but really truly underneath the hood, it's because I didn't believe that I was smart enough or deserving enough to do anything else. And I was completely trapped in a reality of my own making. And I remember hitting rock bottom, and this was a particular moment in time that really stands out. I mean, there were so many different times. The way they would leave relationships is them going to prison. So it kind of gives you an idea of where I was headed. And I remember getting arrested for solicitation in Las Vegas of prostitution. And there's something that is really interesting that happens to you when you, like in the past, I had been put in and I would get out right away. But this time it was different. I was in there with other people that were there because of murder. I stayed overnight and I witnessed my future. And I witnessed that if I didn't change something in my life, I would either be there or dead. And truly, I know that if I hadn't found this work, I would not be alive any longer. And so very shortly after that, I started praying. I prayed to God. I prayed to the universe to ask for help. And then two people showed up in my life that helped guide me out of the situation. They happened to be NLP trained, which is what we do now, is that we do high performance coaching and help people either up level their life or completely change their life in a very short amount of time. And then a year later, I met him in a training. So we met in personal growth and development.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's such a great story. And I'm thinking to myself, and you're saying you're in prison, I'm thinking, what a blessing.
right.
I used to, I look at everything as a blessing now. It's because I don't believe God gives you more than you can handle. And it's all the way we label things,
Right.
good, bad, not going to be able to do this. That's all that we make that up in our minds. So it's true. It's like what we say to ourselves, our thoughts definitely become reality. I mean, it's scientifically proven, as you know. And so everything came together. Your purpose came together, your love life came together, everything. When you're in alignment, you can't help but attract that frequency. So if you're
Exactly.
high frequency or if you're lower, I mean, I had a coaching call today and she was getting into scarcity and she was saying, I know I should be doing that and then I'm not doing it. So then I feel really guilty and shameful. And I said, well, that's the lowest thing, on the frequency scale. So just don't bite off as much as you can chew, or don't commit to me that you're going to do something that you're not going to do unless you can reframe it. If you can't, then delegate it. Period.
Right.
Totally.
Right. And I didn't realize at the time, and most people don't, because when you're in the feedback loop of hell or the hamster wheel of hell, you feel like you're a victim of the circumstance. I didn't realize I had choice. And that was one
Mm.
of the biggest ahas that I had in the first level training I took, is that the everything that I co-created in this reality was a vibration frequency, just like you were saying, in myself. I was amazing at manifesting. I just didn't have the tools to clear out the negative emotions and the traumas and dramas and the identities that I had around it. And so my environment was showing me directly what I thought I deserved. And so,
Exactly. And
mhm,
I was just listening to a podcast, and actually, I'm doing this. I'm almost done with this course that Nicole Ziola came out with. It's codes, okay? And it's basically it's you remembering all this stuff. And you know what?
right,
You could long for love. I remember I went through the dark night of the soul too, and I remember, oh my God, on top of, I mean, I became an empty nester. The guy I was seeing moved to Florida. This is in 1 week, so my son left.
wow,
And I was just like, who am I if I'm not a mother or a girlfriend, And I made me sit. And then on top of that, I had tore my Achilles tendon. So I couldn't walk. So it was like God, the universe, whatever said, you're going to sit down and you are going to learn this, because if I give you 2 feet, you're going to be running around distracting yourself and everything else. But I remember the pain
hmm,
of loneliness was so I thought it was, the feelings felt like they were going to kill me. They really
right.
did. That's how strong it is. But like you said, once I came through it, now it's almost like, okay, what did God do? It's like I'm almost so hyper independent. I'm like, a guy, a what? It's not even on my radar. I mean, if it happens, I'll look at it then. But that was my focal point for so many years, kind of like what you're saying. I didn't believe that I could do this by myself. I was, as Mel Robbins says, she says, nobody's coming to save you. I remember her seeing that
Right.
video and I was like, God, she's so right. But I think a lot of us, men or women, are looking for somebody to save them, but we need to save ourselves. And it's like,
That's a program.
And it's
This
such a
the savior
program.
thing is a complete human construct.
Right.
Like
yes,
there is literally this, I tapped into this in Egypt. There's something that is in us that's like we are kneelers. We're looking for that thing to kneel to. And that's
outside of
where
us.
100%.
Outside,
Yeah.
everything is out there, everything to make us happy. We've been conditioned, we're a
Do it that
hustle
way.
society. Everything
Yeah.
is out there, then you'll be happy. But when you do it, what I've found, when you do it that way, it's not lasting. I
No.
buy a
No.
new handbag. Oh, wow. Or I buy a new car. And it's like, well, this car I do love. It's 5 minutes.
And there's
Look, materialistic stuff is great.
Oh,
and
yeah.
as long
There's
as you're
nothing wrong
not
with
thinking that it's gonna solve solve the problem of feeling unworthy or less whole or complete, because that's a endless prophecy, because it comes within. And the paradox is that everybody is whole and complete now because we're physical divinity in the physical form. You wouldn't be on this planet if you
if
didn't
you
have
weren't perfect, full, and
worthy of
complete.
it. You wouldn't get
Yeah,
a body.
I think
exact.
this whole earth school is all about remembering who we really are.
It is.
To know
Bingo.
thyself and master ourselves.
And become a creator, a co-creator.
Yeah.
Right. Harnessing your gifts and your power and bringing it forward. And you said we all want to kind of return to ourselves, which is true. What I found recently, that if there was one word, it would be like we all want to feel safe. because I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel
Right.
safe in my own body. I didn't even know what that meant.
Right.
You know, and now, and when you were talking about when you were going through when you were a stripper and you were on drugs and everything, you were so fragmented, you probably couldn't even feel yourself at all, right?
Yeah. The only time I felt somewhat of a safety is when I was high. And that's one of the reasons why I use so
And
much. I mean,
that's why
yeah.
you do that, right?
Right.
I think a lot of people don't feel safe in their body, right? They
Mhm.
have self-worth, they have shame, they have the guilt construct. Like there's
Fear.
just, it's such a social program of all these systems that we run, to try to look outside of ourselves to make ourselves happy, go buy a bunch of stuff that we don't need. That's a big piece of this.
Brandon, you're so right. I mean, like I said, hustle society. Do more, have
I,
more. It's
that's how I,
always
that's how I started my real estate days. It was longer, harder, better, faster, longer,
right.
harder, better, faster. I'll get more success if I just make
Right.
another 1,000 calls and work till 10 p.m. Right. And that didn't work.
And you know what? I'm a real estate coach. I don't know if you know that. And I tell my clients the exact opposite. I said, I want you taking 2 full days off a week. What? It's like, what? And I'm like, let me tell you something. You got to slow down to
Mhm.
10x your business. There's a book called 10x is easier than 2x.
Yeah.
Because if you're scrambling all the time, you can't think outside of the box. Why would they choose you as a real estate agent? They want somebody that thinks outside of the box, right? And that
Absolutely.
puts energy back into yourself. If you're not putting energy back into yourself, what do you have to give? So, it's like on the airplane, right? You take the
Yeah.
mask, you put it over
Put
yourself.
your on first. Yeah.
Brandon, so tell me your story. How did you get involved with NLP?
So, when I was 11, my father got fired from the corporate world, and I basically kind of saw life. It was kind of like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I
Oh,
saw money and I saw no money.
mm-hmm.
Dad struggled to run his own agriculture business. I come from a background of farmers and ranchers, and jumped right into real estate at 18, right out of high school. And I wanted to make a lot of money. Like there's, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I saw that I was going to have to take care of my family.
Mm.
Um, and I created this glass ceiling for myself because of that, because of my own limitations around money. I bought my first car after a few commission sales. My dad was like, "What do you think? Money grows on trees?" And I was like, "Yeah, it does. If you learn the mindset and the sales language that I was learning at that time." And that's something that's like really powerful that I took these skills. I hit my own glass ceiling, longer, harder, better, faster. I went and hired this coach, Rhonda. She was a real estate coach, opened up her entire business in a box. And what really got me, this was just after the '08 crash. So I had started doing all these REO bank owned foreclosures. I was doing a ton of volume in California throughout the state. I was in all the MLSs. And I hit a wall. I literally burnt myself out of the business. I said, I'm either going to get out of the business or I'm going to completely rework the model. So I went from traditional real estate to REO, bank owned foreclosures, and then I went into flat fee. I launched an online, basically working with entrepreneurs and investors to list properties in the MLS. So I scaled that, and that's when I met Deb in 2013. My coach. She said, "Brandon, go take these trainings." She's like, "Your business is fine. You're the problem in your business." She
Oh,
was she
okay.
was the
So your
first
coach
person to
told you
like.
that.
She just metaphorically. Oh yeah, she was like, "I'm not going to deal with your personal crap." She's like, "But go take these NLP trainings."
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, can we break this down for people that don't know what NLP is? Please enlighten us.
Absolutely. So Neural Linguistic Programming, NLP. Neuro is the science of communications, the science of the mind, right? Our
Mhm.
thoughts, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, scent, and smell. And actually, one of the most powerful scents we have is the scent of smell. So these systems, we communicate with them all. So this is a part of body language. It's a part of how we think. And when we see something, we think about it, then we process it, and our body reacts.
It's also how we talk to ourselves.
Absolutely.
It's also how we communicate to others. And then the other part of it is how do we reprogram our unconscious mind to create success? And most people think NLP is just a body of knowledge of communication tools and modalities you can use to create success and change, which it is. But it also is a process of modeling. And so you can go and find somebody that's doing a very excellent behavior in any industry, and you can use NLP to break down the code of what they do well, and then you can train others to do the same. And so it's really cool because you can model anything and then speed up the learning curve.
It's how a lot of athletes have gotten so good. They shorten the learning curve, because think about it. You can see someone do it, model what they're doing, from everything from the way they stand to the way they breathe to what are they saying in their mind as they're about to.
What are their belief systems, their value set? How do they breathe? What is their posture? Everything down to the fine-tuned detail. And you can teach somebody to do something really quickly and then nail it every time. They did it with a pistol shooting project. And that's what Rhonda was doing for him, is she was modeling her business and then teaching the model. And that's actually how I found the work. It was a fitness model that had been modeled with NLP, that one of the trainers, I didn't know that she was NLP trained until she told me to go take these things because it was going to change my life. I was using it for personal growth, obviously, but there's just so much application for it. And pretty much anybody that does really amazing high performance coaching is well known. And
they've either had a coach,
Tony
they've had a coach, or they've
Robbins,
learned NLP.
Yeah. Same thing with speakers. It's great for speaking on stage.
Okay,
'cause it's
so
art of communication.
you have an NLP course on your website,
Yes.
right? So I bought that, haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So
Our
will
online
that teach me that will teach me how to do it myself, on myself, or just give me the background of it? What will that teach me?
So that course is a very simple way to have an NLP breakthrough with yourself.
Oh, okay. All right.
And there's also exercises in there. So it's teaching you strategies and different types of communication styles, ways like different language patterns to use in certain scenarios to be able to build rapport and connect with the client. Because most people communicate the way that they communicate to others, but they don't realize that everybody communicates and processes information differently.
Right.
And so by understanding that, then you can shift your communication and be the most flexible person in the room to be able to land the communication every time with the person you're communicating to. So yeah.
Hey guys, okay, let's talk skincare. For most of my adult life, I had a hate relationship with my skin. I struggled with adult acne, discoloration, large pores, psoriasis, and fine lines. I swear, all that changed when I started using herbal face food. I mean, this stuff is powerful. We're talking the world's most potent antioxidant and anti-blemish formula, and the serum is the #1 anti-aging serum in the world, made entirely from 100% botanical plants. No chemicals, no synthetics, 100% all natural. Whether you're dealing with fine lines, dark spots, sun damage, rosacea, psoriasis, melasma, or just want that all-day healthy glow, herbal face food has your skin covered, literally. I've been using all their products for 3 years now, and let me tell you, it's like green juice for your face, only stronger. Remember, whatever you put on your skin goes in your body. So this is a really important point here, seeing that it's 100% all natural. Give it a try. It's got 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked. Check them out at herbalfacefood.com and use promo code TINA20 for 20% off your entire order. That's herbalfacefood.com, because your skin deserves the best. Yeah. So, I had Phil Jones on my podcast. You know who he is? He's the author of Exactly What to Say for he wrote a couple books, Exactly What to Say, and then Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. And so he gave me an example, and it was like blew my mind. It's all the way you speak to somebody. And he said most listing agents will go for a listing appointment and they will say, oh, so what do you want to do now? Or what do you want to do? He says, instead, you would say, so what happens next is, I mean, can you just feel that in your body? It's not pushy. It's leading them along. Why would you say, what do you want to do now? And I tell my clients this, I say, that's a big decision that you're putting on their shoulders. Are you ready for the no? Or
Exactly.
Yeah,
You're teeing it up for so many different directions. And in the context of NLP, that's an ordinal language pattern. You're taking them through the steps in the process of what you want them to do.
First, this, next.
Exactly. And you know what? You were so good at doing this on our integrative call, because we had our first call and then the integrative one. And I was thinking about it last night because I was thinking about this interview today, and I was thinking, you kept saying, well, and then what? And in my mind, that you just kept leading me down something. Now, it wasn't coming up with like, oh, I don't want to answer that question. It's just like, it felt so natural the way you were. And then all of a sudden, we've arrived at the solution.
Right.
It's crazy. All right. So we could go on for this, but I've got a lot of questions for you guys. Okay. So looking back, what were the biggest mindset shifts that changed your life trajectory?
You want to go with that?
For me, taking radical self-responsibility. And I think that's the biggest thing that so many people in real estate, it's either, there's two types of agents. There's the ones that eat and the ones that do not eat.
Yeah, the average real estate agent does 3 to 4 deals a year.
Yeah,
You know that?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They don't make a lot. Like the national average is like less than, I think it's $30,000 in gross commission income in a year.
Right. And then you got to back out all the dues and what
Yeah.
you with your broker and desk fees and all that. So I mean, what would you say was the biggest mindset shift? Was
For
that
me,
just
for me, it was taking radical self-responsibility and just
Yeah.
owning that if I'm going to build this business and serve my clients,
Okay, now I
then
get
I've
it.
got to take responsibility for the calls that I make, the language, my mindset. If somebody says no, am I going to let that spiral my week because I didn't take this listing? Right. And so what I
Right.
did is, as I started to learn NLP, I was literally taking all of my NLP language and applying it to sales.
Okay.
And I think that that's what so many people, especially coaches that we're training, we coach practitioners, doctors, a lot of people in the health professions, any coach, really, performance coach, life coach. Sales is one of the biggest things. It's the closest to coaching. Coaching and sales,
hmm
they are twins, literally. Because you can
Really?
be a great at sales and you can be a great coach, right? And if you're great
They're
at
the same
coaching,
thing.
then you can be great at sales. It's just
You
perspective.
know what? I never thought of myself. I know I'm a great coach. I never thought of myself as a great salesperson. But you know what? When I'm telling you, when I believe in something,
Oh,
because I
yeah.
also collaborate with brands, it's like I can sell ice to an Eskimo if I believe in it. If I don't
Right.
believe in it, I can't. Yeah. So that makes sense. Wow, that's a new one for me.
And you're constantly selling your clients on not having limitations, right?
Exactly. You're selling them into a
Yes.
different perspective.
Again, when I really believe it, you are
Yeah.
going to. I'm not letting you out of the chair.
Exactly. And it's so funny because so there's two dirty words in business. It's money and sales.
Mm,
And we could go down a whole entire podcast on where that comes from, but the whole in the nutshell is that selling there's a handful of people. I think selling because there is a lot of manipulation and people are getting sold all the time
yes.
things that they don't need. So they have that already resistance. And then a lot
Yes.
of people have bad experiences because maybe they weren't asking enough questions, or they don't like to say no, or they don't put down boundaries, or they're confused what they want, whatever. But they're generalizing that to everything. And then, which is sad because they get in their own way when they could sell something that really could help somebody. They're afraid of looking a certain way, or
Yes.
afraid of doing the same thing to that person. And then the other person also has sales blocks. And so we say that sales is a very sacred process. And I go back to my story. My people that came in my life, I gave them every freaking excuse why I couldn't do it. I told them I didn't have the money, I wasn't capable, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't good enough, all these things. These were stories that I was selling myself constantly into disenfranchisation. And they sold me into my greatness that I couldn't see beyond the bars that I put myself in. And they literally hard closed me and got the cash that was mattress money and had me invest in myself. And if they hadn't consistently sold me, I wouldn't have showed up and saw him. If they hadn't consistently sold me, we wouldn't be on this podcast today, because one of my biggest fears was speaking on stage. It was really difficult for me to look people in the eye. I had all these limitations in my mind, and I would have gotten sold back into the limitations. And so for me, I think one of the biggest mindset shifts is that even if I have fear, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people confuse fear with, okay, so that means I need to lean out. I
Right.
have reprogrammed myself that the fear is just showing myself that I'm about to expand. And so if I am afraid of something, that means that I'm about to grow. And so
Yep.
as soon as I used to have a mantra, is it okay if I say F word on here?
Sure.
Okay. So I used to have a mantra when we were growing our business. Anytime fear would come up or we didn't want to do it, but we knew we were going to grow, we'd say, fuck it, we're going to do it anyways.
Right.
And we just did it. We did it over and over and over again. And before you knew it, because my biggest fear was failure, looking stupid, proving to myself yet again that I wasn't worthy. The more that I failed, the more that I learned, the more that I thought the small part of
Because
my
you want to
ego.
prove yourself right, even if
Right.
it's in the negative, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And then I realized I survived in the small ego, the afraid ego started to integrate. And then the larger, higher divine self, the large ego started to flourish. And that was the huge mindset shift. And then the last one is that there's always more. Like there's more to your capacity. If you think that you're living your best life right now, it's probably a 2 of what you're capable.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I mean, I had a client, I said, "What's your goals for 2026?" Well, I just want to survive. I'm like, not
Right.
not if you're being coached by me. I said, where's the motivation there
Yeah.
to survive? Why are you gonna get up and do any of your lead sources, right? Well, you must have struggled with the imposter syndrome then,
Oh,
right?
big time.
And how did you work through?
Perfectionism,
Yeah.
people pleasing. I would freeze up, stumble over my words, and didn't speak my truth. Had panic attacks, anxiety attacks. I thought I was so disenfranchised. This is why I call it. I had all the labels, and I believed all of them. And so then, poof, the wish is your command. And so it was unpacking all the BS, the bullshit stories that I've been telling myself for years, and then training myself to prove to myself that I actually could do things. And so, yeah, the imposter syndrome was big because I didn't go to academia. That was one of my biggest triggers is like, who's going to want to learn from me? And I realized that that's actually my secret sauce. It's a gift
Yep.
because I can hold space with people that have most tragic backgrounds because I've seen it all and I've done it all. And, I have a lot of depth because of that. And I would invite anybody that thinks that they're discounting their ability to be successful because they don't think they're worthy enough. That's exactly why you're meant to be doing it.
Exactly. And we started off when I said God doesn't give you more than you can handle. You can't
Exactly.
bless those challenges because it shapes who you are. And I really believe the reason I'm such a good coach is because I've gone through so many experiences. I mean, I have PTSD. I'm an HSP. We've talked about that. That I used to be going, why am I so sensitive? Why am I so Well, it's great for coaching. I mean, I can
Yeah.
read somebody the minute they get where I'm fine. No, you're not. So these are all gifts and get each time you get through it. Here's the problem though. We get through a challenge or a struggle. Do we stop and pat ourselves on the back? No, we usually don't. That's what I'm working on now. Celebration. Instead, I'm on to the next, or I'm behind. And about time you got that done is, in your head, all that crap that goes on that we really have to understand that all those beliefs it's from 0 to 11, 0 to 3 months old is the most formative years. So all that stuff was placed upon you. You were like a little sponge and you
Right.
still live. If you're not happy with your life, look at it that way and go, I couldn't do it back then, but I can change the script now. My doctor says that we don't die from old age, we die from inflammation. And I couldn't agree more. When I found him a couple of years ago, I was not in great shape. I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, and he found out it was all related to my gut. Did you know that 90% of your dopamine and 90% of your serotonin are made in your gut? Okay. So I have been on all of his products ever since that day. But the ones that I want to talk to you about are the alkalizers. He's got one for coffee and he's got one for alcohol. What do? They make the beverage from acidic to alkaline, which is so important because if your body is too acidic, it is a breeding ground for disease. So you want to keep your body in an alkaline balance. So with the coffee, it comes either for black coffee or it comes flavored as a creamer. I love the flavored ones. Vanilla is my favorite, but I also love the hazelnut. They're all delicious. One scoop, and it does not break your fast for one. It changes your body, your coffee from acidic to alkaline, which you don't have to feel guilty about drinking coffee anymore. And the one for alcohol does the same thing. 5 drops into any alcoholic beverage, and it will make it from acidic to alkaline, meaning no hangover. It doesn't change the taste. It doesn't change the color. And best of all, it doesn't change the buzz. You can still drink and enjoy yourself, all the while knowing that you're not causing inflammation in your body. So go to www.getoffyouracid.com and use the promo code Tina Marks 20.
Right.
Sure.
And also we come in a lot of times with the lineage stuff, right? So they have studies now with epigenetics that, they have a field mouse and they
Berry
shock
blossom.
it with whenever they smell the cherry blossom, they shock it. 5 pups down the generational line still has that effect. They don't flinch up.
As soon as they smell the cherry
Yeah.
blossom, the little pups, they flinch. That's how
Is that because, is it in your DNA?
Yeah.
it's in your DNA.
So it's called epigenetic.
Epigenetics is
but-
the genes above.
which is cool because everybody
Heard of
thinks that
epigen-
they're a victim to their genes, but the realization is your environment controls your genes. And so when you find out something that has happened to the ancestors, you can go back and clear it, not only for yourself, 8 generations into the past, but 8 generations to the future. And you can rewire your DNA. There's a whole study with epigenetics that you literally can optimize your DNA by changing your story, your program, and letting go of negative emotions.
I believe that.
I think that like especially for real estate people, since you coach them, I think belief systems is like 90% of success in real
Yeah.
estate.
Totally.
If you come in, like I was 18 years old, I didn't know a damn thing about real estate. No one in my family did real estate. I just had this insatiable drive and I really got into it to invest, buy rentals, flip properties, things like that.
And can I interrupt you for a second? Do you
Sure.
think that passion came from the fact, because the rich dad, poor dad thing, that you didn't want
Yeah,
to?
I was definitely driven because I saw my dad struggle in the
Right.
corporate system.
And you're like, I don't want to go there.
My dad's PhD, master's, like brilliant man.
PhDs, right?
2.
It's a lot.
Wow.
Very smart human. And I saw him struggle, right, to make $150,000 a year. And I was like, well, if that's what the corporate world does.
I don't want any part
Fortunately,
of it.
when I was 11, my grandfather came in and started mentoring my brother and I about the same time. He was 4.5 years older. So we got some really good mentorship. And my grandfather said, whether you choose to go to college or not, college won't be enough by itself to be successful in business. And he was spot on.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. You know, I mean, I listened to Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, all these greats when I was, 12, 13, 14 years old. So that was in my mind already, kind of like my grandfather hypnotizing us. And so as soon as my brother got out of high school, I did a year of college, dropped out and didn't finish and was already doing real estate. Cause I was like, why am I doing night school when I really need to be studying sales, studying language, studying mindset? That's, learning contracts in real estate. That's so what? That's the business. But most agents, they don't spend enough time, which is why you're coaching them because they need the mindset if you really want to build a successful company, right? If you want to be successful in real estate, to me, it's 90%. It's your belief systems.
Absolutely. I mean, any monkey can go, how many calls did you make today?
Yeah.
Are you doing an open house this weekend? And it's like, they know what to do. I mean, rarely do I get a brand new agent, then I have to go over that with them. But, I was going to say something in regards to myself about that. And I think I just totally forgot what it was. But I agree with everything that you just said. Is there a tool or technique you teach that creates a noticeable breakthrough very quickly?
Mm-hmm. What we call quantum time technique. It's so fast. We did actually integration of parts work as well as quantum time with you. And it's just taking people on a journey of asking questions and visualization process. And you can clear lifetimes of negative emotions, traumas, and dramas, and integrate those fighting parts of ourselves. So what happens when somebody's in and out of trauma and just growing up in the reality of which we grow up in, we have fragmentation that happens in the neurology of the unconscious mind. So there's almost like 15 people that are fighting inside that sabotage the system, but they're really all trying to help and protect.
Are you talking
and
about
keep
IFS
safe.
right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the NLP also
if my
has
audience
parts
doesn't know
integration.
what that is, it's internal family systems. It's a therapy that you've got a 5-year-old inside of you and your 17-year-old, and you need to listen to them. And like if you're not having enough fun, maybe your teenager is having a tantrum.
Right.
Right.
And NLP has its own model of parts integration, IFS. We've blended a whole bunch of different things with the timeline modality. And you can go back and I truly believe one of the reasons why we're on this planet, and this is actually I'm taking this from the Hawaiian tradition and the Huna tradition. They believe that we have our conscious part of us, which is the identity part of us. We have our unconscious mind, which is the part of us that's totally unconscious, but it's also our inner child. And so we're here to learn how to parent our own inner child so the inner child can grow up to become conscious, and the conscious part of us can grow up to be the higher divine version of ourselves. It's just that we've gotten it twisted. We've been programmed to beat ourselves up, to then motivate ourselves. And that part of us that's beating ourselves up is actually trying to help you It's just been trained. It's like if you
Right.
have
It's trying to protect you, but
Right.
it's not. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
and it's trying to create success too, because we live in a world where success is usually produced by, consequence, beating up, braiding, all that stuff. And so that's how we've been trained. It's like you have a beautiful Arabian horse that has 10 generations of terrible trainers that's been beating and kicking it over and over again. It's not the horse's fault. It's the
Right.
training. And so you can shift the training and the unconscious mind starts working for you. And then everything starts to integrate. And then all of a sudden, everything starts to flow and it's really easy to live your best life. It's really gorgeous.
Yeah, and I want to say something right now too. Any parent should be listening to this podcast because it is the most important job you have is raising a child.
Sure.
And
Right.
Absolutely.
if you're not integrated and you're fragmented and you're like you said, you're just passing it along. And so that's hugely important. There was a question that you just said that I went with one of my questions, and
Well, one of the biggest things is self-talk. I think
Yes.
most people struggle with their internal dialogue. Deb did.
Big time.
Right.
I didn't really quite have that as much. I learned when I started real estate, I didn't know what I was doing. So I just made cold calls. That's all I did. I cold called for like the first, probably, well, most of my career, but for the first 4 years, I got hung up on so many times, like it didn't matter. And so I think when
So
you
you got used to it. Yeah.
yeah. So when you can get through the self-talk, that negative self-talk where it's like, who do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are? Why would you do that? A lot of people beat themselves up, whether they're coaches, and that turns into imposter syndrome, it turns into people pleasing, and that's something that we've really helped a lot of people with. That NLP is great for reprogramming the way the subconscious mind works.
Right.
Because there's so many different techniques. Some people are highly visual. Sometimes, people's significant emotional events are very kinesthetic, right? So they're tied
Somatic work.
to somatic work.
Somatic work, right?
Right.
And you use that too, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah,
We use all of it.
we've infused, about 12 to 15 different, systems and brought them into we have 150 tools.
Right.
We have a
Wow.
lot of different tools that we can
Not
use.
every tool is going to work with everyone, right?
Right.
Everybody's different, and that's where the blending gets magical.
Yeah, 100%.
Brandon, what do you think is that most business owners overlook when they're trying to scale?
So there's a few things. Number one is having a plan on what you want to scale and why you're scaling. Like, what do you want to do with the money? A lot
Right.
of people want to make more money, but they don't really have a plan on what they're going to do with it and what
Yes.
that looks like. So truly a strategy or a plan of if we scale to 10 million, et cetera, what does that look like? And then I'd say the next thing is having a feedback mechanism, a system, like most people, especially agents, the KPIs, they have no clue what they are. They don't know what their key performance indicators are. So if you are going to scale, you've got to track, your outbound calls, outbound dials, setter calls,
Tracking is everything.
closing calls, like all the sales stuff. Those numbers are extremely important.
Very
I would
important.
say, how many leads are they getting from an open house? All the different things that come from that. And then, probably the biggest thing is stop doing the things that don't work. And I think the hardest thing for entrepreneurs and especially real estate agents, I was one of them, stubborn as hell. I'll keep you on the phone for another 5 minutes, even if I do get a no. But the
Right.
thing I see about entrepreneurs, real estate people, professionals, is they continue to pound the square peg in a round hole. And it's
Yes.
the simplest thing to just stop doing shit that doesn't work.
Yes. And delegate when you need to.
And then I'd say the fourth thing is hire a coach. Honestly, as soon as I hired a coach, Rhonda, I was struggling to break $500,000. I hired a coach. 2 years later, I had $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the
But
thing
there's
about
certain
coaches,
people that are uncoachable too.
it is that, and that's the radical self-responsibility piece, right? That's
Yes.
one of the first frames we teach is cause and effect is, as people have got to start taking responsibility for their behavior, their language, and you don't attract the clients you want. Like you don't attract that millionaire client that wants to buy a $5 million house. You attract the clients you are. So
Yes.
until you become a better client, you won't attract better clients.
Right.
You won't be a good leader if
No.
you can't be led.
And I struggled for years, the first 5 years I did traditional real estate. Then '08 hit. And then I was like, oh, I better figure out how to do this business or I'm going to be out of business. So that's when I shifted into bank owned foreclosures and did
Right.
that for another 5 years. And so you really have to be adaptable. You have to be flexible. And I'd say the other thing that a lot of entrepreneurs and real estate professionals struggle with is the client's that's something Rhonda taught me. The client's never right. If the client was right, they would have already sold their damn house. If the client was right, they would have already bought their damn house.
Yes.
So the biggest thing with real estate agents is boundaries and stop people pleasing.
Yes.
And that's the thing I created this NLP culture, and I created this Jagger method coaching framework in my real estate brokerage because I realized like I was just turning through agents. I'd hire them, I'd train them, and then they'd go leave. And I realized like if I don't that's the reason why Keller Williams is so successful, is because they have this culture of training. They have this culture of mindset.
And they model the model.
Right. And the one thing in Gary's book, and Gary's a great guy. And I think the culture of real estate is there's really not a culture of like really improving your mindset and working on your emotional awareness, your emotional intelligence, and being just an exquisite communicator, and I think hopefully like with the whole thing that happened with the National Association of Realtors is like that's a tale sign that we need to raise the bar in this industry, because I dealt with a lot of that corrupt crap back in the day, and I saw this coming because every agent, so many of them, they use the same old damn line, that, oh, you're not going to get your house sold if it's not a 6% commission. They've been spraying that bullshit for so long, it doesn't make any sense. And we have to up level our language in order to get paid more. And agents want to make more money. Well, then study and put the time, effort, energy in to get paid more. And that's exactly the thing I share that with agents, because the ones that are usually talking the most smack are the ones that do the least amount of personal growth and personal development. They certainly don't do spiritual development.
Right. It's more coming from ego and arrogance. And I tell my clients that there's 3 things that lead to success: intention, action, and consistency. When they're afraid to get on the phone or whatever, I say, like we had started off this conversation, remember what your intention is. Your intention is, even if you only have $500 left in the bank, okay, when you get on that phone, my intention is to help these people. And like you said, the client is always wrong or never right, either way. It's true. Otherwise, they wouldn't need to hire you. And when you have that self-belief, you can be more firm with them and say, well, then why did you hire me if you're not going to listen to me? Now but that has to come from a place of self-love and commitment and confidence. And you don't get that through doing affirmations. I mean, they do help, but it's doing the other work.
Taking action. No, I love that. So you said intention, action,
and consistency.
Right.
Consistency is key. I was having one of my clients do these I am affirmations with the binaural beats in their ear.
Yeah.
I said, do it for 21 days. She goes, we got on a call. She goes, okay, I've done it 21 days. I said, well, how do you feel? She goes, I feel great. Mm-hmm. She goes, can I stop now? I said, why would you want to stop now?
I know.
I said, honey, this is called behavior stacking. Huh?
Exactly. We tell people too, that come through our events and they've had this transformation. I'm like, why would you not continue?
If you have a breakthrough in the first 5 days.
If you had so much transformation and your life has changed, why would you stop? It's like brushing your teeth. You do it every day.
If you have a breakthrough in 5 days, what would a breakthrough look like if you came through a 9-day event?
Yeah.
And then another 12-day event?
2 years with us.
This is my big thing with education. And I think the education system, we have to really create what I feel like we're doing is creating life school. It's not just for business.
Yes.
It's also for relationships, because I sell Deb all the time. We're selling each other on a better life and a better partnership.
Sell him too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No kidding.
And I think the biggest thing with traditional education is like you graduate. Oh, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah. And that's the biggest crock.
Or I hear, this is a line that I lovingly give a feedback. They say, oh, I've done so much work. I'm like, that's why we're here. This is called the Earth School.
When you build
then do the great work of knowing thyself and becoming a value with your gift to share it with the world. This is the work you're here for. I'm like, yay, there's more work. Because
Earth School.
Work actually comes from the root word worship, which you are worshiping by doing the work and putting yourself out there to serve at a deeper level. It also means service.
It's just conscious expansion.
Right.
Right. It's conscious expansion. And I was listening to a podcast yesterday. It was really good. And I think he said something like because we're always like, we want to get to the destination. and skip the journey. He says the destination is the journey.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. That if you look at it that way, because I remember with me, I'm just task to task, and I got that done.
Right.
So what happens? The end of your life, you're like, all you've been doing is
Then
going
I
from
made
task.
it.
What's that? And
Like,
hating.
then I made it.
And
like
I made
when I
it.
get to this point, then I made it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, that's true. True. Can you share a transformational story that surprised you even as a coach, like from one of your clients?
There's so many.
Yeah, so many. Recently, we had a practitioner. She's a therapist. She's had 55 years of chronic pain. She just came through in, I think, September. And I don't even know what that's like to have chronic pain at 5 years old for the rest of your life, right? She's literally 55.
Well, that would be normal to you.
And and so she's lived with chronic back pain to the point where she could not really even move and function just normally. Like sets her day around that, kind of set her life around this pain, right? And she literally in a 20-minute demonstration in front of the group let go of her chronic pain to the point where the next day we do a 20-foot jump off into this high mountain lake.
If people want to, if they feel called
to break through the fear.
Yeah.
If there was fear that you
go into the unknown.
Yeah.
And she literally did it.
Literally.
This other doctor came up and asked her, he's like, would you have ever jumped in the lake? And she was like, no, not if I hadn't let go of my pain the previous day. So she literally, every time I see her on group calls, I'm like, hey, where's your pain at? She's like, I don't have any.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like, this is the construct we're living in.
So maybe there was something that that was keeping her safe with that pain.
Yeah, the stories we're telling ourselves.
The stories, right.
I think most people are telling themselves a story, and we get some dopamine hit by telling it.
Yes.
Because it makes us feel important. It makes us feel like we have attention.
Yes.
No matter
That's
how
where I was going with that.
Drama. Like we all have that story, and I'm compassionate for the story.
Right.
And my coach years ago, another coach, is, it's like, are you like, we all have reasons, really good reasons, or are there no good reasons and just results?
Right.
And that smacked me upside the face again in my real estate business, because it's like, damn, I can't come up with my own reasons and expect my agents to go out there and sell real estate. If I'm coming up with reasons, why would I expect them not to have their own great set of bullshit reasons?
That's why I was saying just yesterday to one of my clients, I said, one of the reasons that I've chosen this work is because it keeps me accountable.
Right.
100%.
I can't tell you to do something and then I'm not doing that myself.
Yep.
Right.
So it keeps me on the straight and narrow. Totally makes sense.
Right. One of the things we hold intention to, that, to sharing this with everybody else, is that in everything that we do as coaches, as facilitators, we expect miracles.
Yes.
We expect it. I'm
starting to do that on a daily basis. I wake up and I'm like, going back to the childlike version. That's what you did when you were a kid. It didn't have to be Christmas. You woke up. What am I going to do today? And that's where, that's what makes life miraculous, right? So you expect that. Most people, like I used to be, I'd expect the worst. I mean, I was making my bed the other day, you guys. I mean, I went through such anxiety and depression and all this stuff that I remember when I would make my bed, I'd be like basically saying to the bed, don't worry, I'm going to be back really soon. Like my whole goal was to get back into bed.
Don't you get cold.
You know what I mean? Because it was the only place I felt safe was in my bed.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now it's like, I mean, I still love my bed. Don't get me wrong. I don't say that to the bed anymore. What question should people ask themselves more often?
For me, it's who am I really?
Mm.
If I wasn't afraid, if I didn't listen to the stories I've been told.
Yes.
What would I be with all of that gone? Because that's truly who you are.
Yes. Well, okay. So then on the heels of that, what is one thing people can do today to shift their internal narrative? Because this first step is the hardest step, right? So what is one thing that they could shift in order to start understanding who they truly are?
I mean, first it's state. You can't figure out who you are if you're in a negative state. So state change to me is everything. If
How do we do
you can't
that?
shift your state, I mean, put on some music, start dancing.
Yeah. Anything that makes you
simple.
feel fun, light, joy, expansive.
Podcast.
If you're in victim
podcast.
consciousness, this negative, angry state, you're upset, a deal fell out, the kids are late to school, blah, 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 right? All the things that life throws at us, the negative state just spirals that frequency. And I just believe that everything we put out there is frequency. And so if we
Yes.
keep putting out the frequency of negativity and we get back negativity with a crappy client or somebody canceling a listing or anything, right? Break up, like that should not be a surprise to us. If we're consistent at putting out negative frequency, we will get negative frequency. So do your
It's
best to
law.
put out positive frequency. It's
Right.
a universal law.
It's a universal law. Yeah,
It is.
exactly. That's why I tell my clients the only thing I want you to do is stay in a I want you to just be
Yeah.
joyful, and I want you to be happy, and I want you to do things that light you up and brings you passion. And
Exactly.
that
And play that, and this is really simple, is the what do you want instead game. So I did this with myself when I first started retraining my brain to what I wanted, to be able to focus on what I wanted. And anytime I would have a negative thought, anytime I would say something negative about myself, anytime I heard a negative I am, I would then write it down and say it out loud twice in a different way of like, I am confident. I'm
Reframe it
empowered.
into the positive.
Like it's
okay. Yeah.
it's super simple, and it's just it takes time. It takes some discipline, but you'll be aware of how many stories. And then the next step is starting to ask yourself, where did you decide that? Who told you that? Because that's not who you really are. You're so much more than that. So it starts getting the ball rolling of identifying with
Yes.
these new identities, because you can have whatever you want should you choose to.
I think one of the
be-
easiest techniques is literally just looking like up where the ceiling meets the wall, and then just allow your eyes to go out into peripheral. When you're in peripheral vision, right? Everybody should drive in peripheral, but there's a lot of people that don't.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
not the best drivers. But when you're in peripheral, your eyes go all around you. But what most people don't realize, with that simple little process, all your senses go with you, which means you make a kinesthetic map and you feel the room, you
Mhm.
hear, and by your eyes adjusting, your thoughts now go still and silent. So your mind is quiet. And a lot of people have a racy mind. I'm pretty quiet mind, so I can think and I can be present. But if people could just go into peripheral and then adjust their eyes by adjust their eyes and then take a deep breath in, just something that simple can get them present, and that can shift your state just like that.
Right.
Hey, real quick, let's talk about something we all deal with, but never really think about. Electromagnetic radiation. Yeah, EMF. It's everywhere, from our phones, laptops, Wi-Fi routers, even our smart fridges. And no, I'm not saying ditch your tech. I mean, who could? But I am saying you can protect yourself from unnecessary exposure with Aries Tech. Backed by peer-reviewed studies and independent testing, Aries Tech makes compact, science-backed EMF modulation devices that help reduce the effects of electromagnetic radiation on your body. Rather than blocking the EMFs, Aries Tech's products work with your own body's electromagnetic field to balance out the effect. Yes, you heard that right. Our body is made up of energy, and this works with your own energy to balance out the effects. I've got one around my neck, one on my phone, and one in my living room. And honestly, it gives me peace of mind knowing I'm doing something small that can make a big difference over time. So whether you're working from home, gaming for hours, or just scrolling your feed in bed, protect your space. Check them out at ariestech.com and use the code TINA25 for 25% off your order. That's AIRES tech.com, because your body deserves better.
Just like that.
Right.
Yeah,
But most people are like, oh, that doesn't work. And then they get in their head and they wonder
I
why.
interviewed Tim Schur. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a hypnotist, and he had a suggestion too. He says, when you look up, your thoughts are he says, think about it. When you feel depressed or whatever, you're looking down.
Yeah.
It's
and
same
kinesthetic.
thing. He said, if you want to get out of it, look up, like up to your third eye,
Yep.
and that will immediately shift you.
Because when
Yes.
you're crying, typically what you're looking down, which is
Yeah.
AD and kinesthetic. So if you're you're
Thinking,
operating,
feeling,
because we do
thinking.
eye patterns, right? So we teach people eye patterns. Eye patterns is pretty powerful to understand body language, but also just understand where people are thinking.
Right. And a
And
Right.
simple eight breaths, simple 8 breaths. That's it. It's amazing how quickly you can shift your state with just breathing
Oh.
intentionally.
a 15-minute breath work, because we love breath work.
We do
I
it
do.
every
I
day.
do
We
10
it in our
minutes a
events
day.
too.
We do it every day. We do it in our retreats. Like breath work is a game changer that can truly alchemize the emotions and the energy in the body.
Yeah. And it's
Absolutely.
free.
Is this a guided breath work or we're just breathing like
Yeah.
box
We do-
breathing?
we'll do it- we
It's
do
a
a
guided
guided.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got different chordings, things like that.
When you
Yeah.
feel most aligned with your purpose, what does that look like day to day?
For me, it's a feeling of excitement and exhilaration.
Mm-hmm.
I think about what we get to do and the life that we lead, the people we're around. You know, when we're doing retreats and we have people here at our beautiful home in Utah or going to Egypt with people we love, one of the things I kept saying is I love my life. I love my life. I love my life.
I
Like
say that too.
I love what I do. I love who I'm with. I love my partner. I love the body and knowledge that I'm continuing to learn. I love all of it. And it's just, I'm so honored.
And the
to be
more that you
alive.
love that, the more it comes to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think if you don't figure out why you don't, right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that piece, like for me, I loved real estate. Real estate's will always be in my blood. I love the rental side of it, and I love having investments, right? We bought a ranch. I love real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I fell out of love of selling it years ago,
Yeah.
right? And that's when because I was doing this work and I was like, I actually think, like, they keep calling me a coach. They keep calling me a practitioner. I'm like, I'm not a coach. I'm a broker. And then it clicked when I let go of that identity and I shed that identity. I think a lot of us in real estate have a lot of egos around the license. By the way, that's the matrix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As soon as you decide to exit that matrix, it's amazing what kind of life you can create that's beyond the license. And I say that because I've been there. And if you're there, then you could also look forward to something else too. But what I didn't realize is how the tools that we now have, and we wield them with consciousness and intention to help people heal themselves. They heal themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We just open their mind up to
Yes.
the static electricity that's just the noise going on. That's like, hey, you can heal yourself if you choose to.
Right.
And I feel like
Exactly.
I get more pleasure and greatness from that than selling real estate, right? Why not help everyone instead of just buyers and sellers? And that's me, right? That's just me.
Well, and that's why I do this podcast. I can only reach so many people with individual coaching.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So that's,
And you're changing lives. Like, look, we're all in this work, this space of the great work. The great work is the spiritual work. And that question, like what Deb was saying, is what's getting in the way of your highest potential? That's the question I think people should be asking yourself is like, what truly is getting in the way of your highest potential? Because if it's fear, I mean, that is the low frequency emotion. There's no reason to have fear. You're already on this planet. It means you're already worthy. You're born.
Right.
You're here. Let's fucking do this.
Right. Let's do this. Exactly. And I think people get attached to outcomes and exactly the way they want it to work out. And that takes, we were talking about miracles and the excitement and everything else. It's just maybe a redirection,
Right.
And if you're just so set on, this is the way this man's going to look, or this is the way this deal is going to go through, or then you're not trusting. The most important thing, I think, is to trust yourself, trust the process, trust the universe, and surrender to it. Right?
We do a game. So, like, for an example, if somebody says they're coming to an event and they fall out, or we have a high performance coaching client deal that we're working on and it falls out, we talk to each other. We're like, oh, somebody else is going to fill that spot. And because that happened, that means that we're going to have more people come in. And so we've done this game with ourselves because you've already stepped into the
or the
frequency
right person's going to be there. The one that fell out wasn't going to be in synchronicity with you.
This or something better.
Yes.
Right?
That's
Like,
what I'm finally learning. I'm
I
finally.
think Jocko Willett, like, ex-Navy SEAL, I think he is Extreme Ownership is one of his books.
Yeah, it's so good.
He's like, when he would just get
David
the
Goggins?
worst,
Who are we talking
about? Jocko Willett.
Oh, okay.
He was the one that wrote Extreme Ownership. He's like, they're on a mission and like the worst shit happens. And he's like, good. He just says
good coming
his
from
response is good to bad news. And it's like, it just shifts your mind so quick. And I think, that's the thing of entrepreneurship is like, how quickly can you get out of that fight or flight, freak out
Trigger.
mode, and just get down to a baseline of just calm, cool, collected. Because the sooner you can do that, your nervous system is going to be, number one, you're going to have more energy at the end of the day.
And creativity.
And number two, it's like you're just going to be calmer when you do respond. You're not going to respond with emotion and intensity.
Yep. And you're going to learn from it.
It took me a
That was
while
the
to learn
number
that.
one thing for me. I was living in fight or flight, everything that you just mentioned. Like I would react, I wouldn't respond. I didn't have any creativity inside of me at all. I mean, it's like you're alive, but you're not alive.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what does success mean to you now at this point in your life?
For me personally, it's aligned with my soul's purpose, which feels absolutely ecstatic and joyful. It, like I said, I love my life, and I know that I'm so 100% aligned with what I'm doing, and it feels really good. But I'm also open to it shifting. So
Yeah.
I'm open
Might not
to
be
new
forever
possibilities.
this, might be
Yeah.
something greater for you in a year or 2 or 5 or 10, right?
Exactly. I feel
Again,
like
not
God
being
has put
attached to
me
the
on the path.
outcome.
Right. I
Right.
feel like I'm aligned with divine will. So there's a difference between the will of the ego, from my perspective, of like doing something, versus when you're aligning with your soul's divine will that's connected to source energy and intelligence that you came here to do in the season that you're in. It feels really good.
Yeah,
really,
it really
really
does.
good.
It's so fulfilling. And
Yeah.
I just love helping other people. I mean, I used to think it's better to give than receive, but not one is not better than the other. I mean,
Yeah.
you need to be able to receive too, because then you can't hold space for anything, right?
Cycles
Yeah.
and rhythms, got to have both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me,
What's
it's transformation, and it's just benevolent leadership and stepping into a greater role of helping more people. One thing my coach Rhonda taught me was volume cures all problems, and the volume that we want to help people transform. Like one-on-one work is great. We love it. We have great high performance clients. We're kind of in an all hands on deck. We need more people to start creating transformation for
Right.
themselves and their families. And so that's why we love our retreats and group work. Because volume's gonna help people heal, and
Absolutely.
and just that connection.
So how often you just came back from a retreat, or was that just a trip from for the two of you?
Yeah, we do these basically kind of initiation experiences. We're doing one in November next year, at the end of the year,
And
in Tulum for a week, and then another one in Lake Atalan in Guatemala.
And then in Egypt in December.
And then Egypt. So we just got back from Egypt because we're flushing out our next retreat, which is just a beautiful, beautiful process.
Transformation.
I want to go to the one in November. It's not till November. I've been wanting to go to Tulum, but it's not till November.
Oh yeah.
That one's in
Yeah,
November.
January.
But
Can
we have
visit
one
us
coming up in
here.
January. We have a 3-day here in Park City.
Yeah, it's called your vision alchemy. So it's aligning your soul's vision for the future, and then with your big why, and then clearing any distortion patterns, thinking limitations, and then how do you communicate it with the power of the spoken word to shift reality.
When is this? January when?
The 22nd, the weekend of the 22nd.
22nd in Salt Lake. I've never been to Salt. It must be a little cold.
Ooh, come with us in the mountains. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're-
yeah.
We're actually
Well, because
Park
that's what it
City.
sounds like. I'm going through a lot myself. It's all great, but I share.
Yeah, that gives tremendous clarity.
It's
So
the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. So it's a 3-day event.
24th. And
So
is that on the website?
Yes, it is.
yes,
So we go deep into values. Values right now, values is what people have so many values shifting right now. What used to be important to them is no longer.
because things are
Right.
changing so fast.
One of the big
Yes.
things is relationships and health. Health is really shifting for a lot of people, right? 2020 just kind of opened us up about what it means to be healthy.
Mhm.
And it's only gotten more and more intense, right? And taking care of ourselves, self-care, wellness. So that's something that, and we're also helping couples, anyone in a relationship or trying to find a relationship, is get right in relationship with themselves.
and or business, because if you're not
So this
aligned with
is
your
everything
business-
that's happening in January?
yeah,
It's called Vision Alchemy.
your vision. Okay.
Your Vision
I'm
Alchemy.
coming.
We help you cast a better vision for your 2026.
Get aligned with it.
Whatever that
Yes.
vision is for you, everybody's is different, right? Goals, couples, relationships, whatever those values are.
And then align
Yeah.
your values, which is your unconscious motor, and it's also what sends a signal to the universe to bring back to you.
And it's also
Exactly.
just clearing out all the stuff that gets in the way of your highest potential, which is usually the low frequency stuff. The
Right.
stories, the negative emotions, the limitations.
Well, I've been wanting to do that. The last conference I went to was Danny Morel, but I think that was about a year and a half ago. Do you know who Danny is?
I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had him on my show. Um, when I think he was first starting out. It was when I had him. He's been doing this for a while now.
Cool.
Okay, so I have so many other questions, but I want to see. Let's see. What excites you the most about what's ahead right now?
I just think the future is so bright. I know that a lot of people, they'll look at the world and see a lot of chaos. I have this really powerful belief system that all of this was destined to happen. When you start studying with different shamanic cultures around the world, whether it be the Mayan, the Peruvian, and Egypt, they all talk about this time specifically, this 100-year pattern that we're in right now, and we're in the most intense part. And this is the time that people are going to be coming from, where everything has been the head. It's all about conquering. It's been out of alignment. Now it's integrating back into divine feminine and divine masculine and balance. And we are a part of that. And so I believe everybody that's listening to this and everybody on this planet is here to help that shift happen. So I get excited. Because
Yes.
I know that we're here for an intention. We decided to come here to raise the vibration of humanity and to be in right relationship with the planet. And so I say to everybody, if there is something inside of you that you feel like you've been wanting to do that's bigger than you, that you're here to serve with, now is the time. This
Now
is
it's the
the
time.
time.
Exactly.
More than ever.
Just like having a baby. It's never the right time to have a baby. You can always
Just do
make an
it.
excuse, right? So just do it. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, tell us the different ways people can work with you. They can work out with you one-on-one, right? Then you've got the academy. So go ahead and tell us how they can work with
So
you.
we have three-day events. One of them's more for business, sales, communication. People need to get their money straight.
Uh-huh.
What we do in that event is called Business Alchemy.
Okay.
And the Business
This
Alchemy
one's
is
a
about
vision.
flushing out why you're not making the kind of money you want to make.
And then learning advanced skill set when it comes to communication of your offer, how to, elevate the context of reframes, meaning like if people are giving you objections, how do you support and serve them and coach them to guide them into decision making, whether it be working with you or not? The other
Okay.
part of it is speaking. Like, how do you get on stages to share your message in a very succinct way that people are raising their hand to work with you, whether it be in a podcast or a stage or a networking event? Really nailing that offer.
That's huge. Yeah.
And then
You
the
need to
other
be able to.
3-day, yeah, 100%. No, you're
Right.
right. And that's, I mean, we always attract a lot of real estate agents because I
Yeah.
was one. So it's just a natural thing. I think people are really good at sales, and most people don't realize how unconscious they are in the sales process.
Right.
That's something that we
You know what
shine
they're
that light.
thinking? It's just like when I used to go on a date, I'm thinking, oh my God, is my hair sticking up? Oh my God,
In the head.
I'm not
in the
listening to
head.
what they're saying at all. Right.
100%.
I'm so in my head and now
Yeah.
I feel so good to not have that. I mean, it's just, God, you feel free. You just
Right.
That's
feel free. And
exactly
I
right.
haven't even done the NLP. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to do, I'm going to do my course first, but then I'm going to mark this down on my calendar for the 23rd. This is my last question. If listeners take away just one idea or feeling from this conversation, what would you hope that would be?
For me, it goes back to self-worth.
Mhm.
I say it again, you are enough. There is
Mhm.
nothing for you to do, be, and have that you are not currently enough right now. You are whole and complete. You're divine in the physical form, and you have here something, a story to share, a gift to share with the world, and service to be here. So, find out what that superpower and that magic is for you. And when you do, you will feel fulfilled and happy and complete.
And working with you also helps people find that
Oh, yeah.
purpose and identity and everything. Brandon, do you
Yeah.
have anything to share?
Yeah, I think just working on transforming the deepest part of yourself, like finding that soul connection. I had this incredible connection to Osiris, um, Isis and Osiris, and the story in Egypt. And it was a soul connection of truly, like at 40 years old, knowing who I am. Even though I've done so much, I don't think I really truly knew who I was until I had that soul connection.
Mm-hmm.
And it was magical. And I think if people, they want to go out there and help others, everybody says, oh, I'm going to serve my customers. And, I love helping people, but what does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
Helping people. How do you help people? What tools do you use? And how deep do you go? And I think that's something that right now people need to go deeper,
Mm-hmm.
because transformation, there's a lot of stuff out there that's surface level transformation. But when you connect to your soul, to your true purpose, your true meaning, you can't not help transform people around you, not only your family, but also creating a business out of that. That's something that we're super passionate about. And I would have never have guessed that we would have made more money doing this than I would have done doing
In real
estate.
estate.
And
Yeah,
I've made,
exactly.
and I was single and working in my ass off, and we have made more abundance and wealth happen together than I ever did in real estate.
Yeah.
And that's just the gratitude that I have for the work that
Well,
we
that's
do.
the reward you get for being in alignment,
Yeah,
Right.
right? That's the reward. And
absolutely.
wow, such a pleasure having both of you on. What's the best way for everybody to get in contact with you?
Well, jagertraining.com is our website. And, there's a online course I think that you got. It's NLP made
Yeah.
simple.com, and there'll be a link. There'll be a link down there.
And it's a really easy self-study course. And when they decide to join us, they'll be getting a call from me.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I have the next 12 days off. And this is my last podcast for 2025. So thank you both for being
Oh, cool.
on. What an honor.
Beautiful. Thank you,
Yeah.
Tina.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Okay, appreciate you guys too. And I'll probably be seeing you in January.
Let's
So
do this again.
Yes.
yeah, let's do it again.
that.
Thank you, everybody,
you.
for joining us. I'm sure you guys got a lot of valuable information today. I know that I did. If you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so you don't miss any great episodes like this. And also you can find me on Spotify, Apple for podcast listening. Okay, so we will see you all next week and in the new year in 2026. Thanks, Deb. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks.
Thank you.